Well, awesome. Well, we can get started here. Hey, everybody. My name is Brennan Borgestad. I'm the business development manager here with Scylla. On the phone with me and on the call, as well as Andre. Andre, I'll let you introduce yourself as well too, and your role with Scylla.
Thank you, Brennan. My name is Andre Kopian. I am the Vice President of Customer Success and also play a role in product development here at Scylla.
Awesome. And so, yeah, today we're going to be talking about how Scylla can be just supercharging your events that are going on, whether it's specific events at a larger area, whether it's arena, sports stadiums, fairs, trade shows, a lot of different areas too, but specifically around the event security, we're going to be focusing on today and how Scylla's AI leading through AI threat detection can be helping in that area, specifically around event operations on that side. And so we're going to get right into it and kind of kick off on two of the main modules and areas of focus that we've been working with several of our customers. The first one's around our traffic flow analysis module. And so with this is a big thing that a lot of people are just saying around just their venue safety, as well as venue operations is a big area of critical importance too. So whether that's tracking how many people are coming in and out of the building, where people are going at, as well as too just understanding where people maybe aren't supposed to go, as well as where people are, understanding where they're at, as well as too if there's any emergencies and safety concerns, where if people have truly all left the building or how many are still maybe in the building on that side too. So there's a lot of different areas where traffic flow analysis comes into play. I'm going to let Andre go a little bit deeper into this, but this is definitely a unique selling point to just have different ways of using the traffic flow analysis to specific events and venues to that. But Andre, I'm going to let you kind of dive in a little bit, just sharing about how our traffic flow analysis module works and how we use our data-driven AI to run the module.
Sure. So Scylla's traffic flow analysis basically is geared to gather data real time using existing surveillance infrastructure. We are able to draw up to 5 zones in a single image to track the flow of humans in that particular zone. This comes very handy in retail environments where retailers trying to understand what part of their establishment has the most foot traffic, how to organize products to drive sales. We offer heat mapping as well as traffic flow arrows to show the path of travel in a set amount of time. So if it's a 24-hour period, you can generate heat maps to let you understand the gathering of people in the retail environment, or this may be at a show. If you wanted to understand, which booth has the most traffic throughout the day, which means that's a popular brand, and you really gauge what your real estate is worth during the trade show. So you're able to generate more revenue next time around by renting those particular spaces out for the next venue. And on top of that, we also have people counting. So in the same zones, you can actually draw cross lines digitally, and this will count people coming in. And at the same time, it can deduct people that leave the venue, and this comes in handy for occupancy limitations, or whether it be for COVID compliance if you're supposed to have a certain limit of people in a room. And it can gauge that real time. And of course, at the end of every show or end of every day, you get a report showing you the statistics of traffic flow for that day. And this comes in handy in populating or parsing the data with an existing system to let the customer know what went on during that day. And we have a video here that shows that in action.
Let me unmute myself. Analysis too. Apologies, I get a little feedback. But yeah, with the traffic flow analysis, a lot of our modules first and foremost focus on physical security and physical threat detection. With the traffic flow analysis, there's a lot of security applications, but also too, like Andre mentioned, a lot of other things like heat mapping, know where people are at for marketing purposes, as well as too, like even janitorial. And we're working with customers to say, hey, we want to know where people were at in the building because we want to set our janitorial team with COVID cleanup out to the areas where people were at, or we have occupancy limits on that side. And so we take the security focus that we have with a lot of our modules and expand them a lot with this traffic flow analysis as well too, to again do real-time people counting, look for line crossings if there's security breaches, heat mapping, dwell time analysis, as well as just a lot of different statistical analysis that can generate in reports as well too, and that we can customize for customers as well too. And so this is apologies here. This is some of the solutions in action on our dashboard here. I'm on that side, and so you can see we can keep track of how many people are coming in and out. We can have multiple zones and lines drawn, like Andre mentioned, to know, okay, how many people are coming in. And again, the big thing with this in our analytics, we're looking specifically for people. And so we're not getting any false alarms when a door opens and swings open. That's not setting off an alarm. We're looking for people and or vehicles too, depending on how you want to use it on that side. But again, we can generate different statistical analysis. On the report side, we can look for different pathways, heat mapping, occupancy counting, and the possibilities are really endless when it comes to our traffic flow analysis. And so this is one of the definite unique modules in our portfolio, that there's a lot of different possibilities, and we can really get a lot of different departments in on this of, hey, how can we use Scylla to the best of our abilities to generate a large ROI to not only security, but also then safety, to marketing, to janitorial and cleanup, and any of the areas around that side too, and just event operations too overall. And that's been a huge thing in the event operations space, is that this can be really a good silver bullet to answer a lot of different problems around that too, of solutions or problems that need to be solved with one of our solutions specifically for that. But yeah, so that's our traffic flow analysis piece on that side. I know a few people have hopped in the chat too. First and foremost, welcome. Thanks for hopping on the call. Just to reiterate as well, we do have a Q&A section as well. So if there's any questions on any of these specific modules we're focusing on, as well as to just Scylla as a whole too, we'd love to make sure we put those in the Q&A chat, and we'll make sure to be keeping an eye on those here as we go throughout as well too for that. And so next point that we're going to be looking at is our face as a ticket solution. So this is using Scylla's facial recognition specifically in the face as a ticket space. And so one of the big pain points that we've been talking with sports stadiums and event centers and trade shows is there's a lot of different people that are coming in with tickets, and it's either the paper tickets or even QR codes, which yes, we're going paperless, which is great, but it's still a large bottleneck at a lot of these event centers where people have to check in, scan their pass, and be let in there. What we're doing is looking at Scylla's AI facial recognition to actually speed up that process, make it a lot simpler and easier, and people can pre-register actually too by logging in their face as well too, using our face as a ticket for that. So like I mentioned, with our system, we provide our own face as a ticket app, which you're able to download. Actually, now we have on the App Store for iOS and Android. And it's simply as simple as just enrolling your face into the database. And so we can use the Scylla app, or even we can integrate our app with the specific events or sports stadiums, or however you want to do it for guest check-in for different companies that have their front secretary office to have this set up where we can check people in for different meetings that people need to go to. But it's as simple as just enrolling your face, getting some different angles so we have just even higher accuracy on that side, and checking people in that way. And that way we're able to do it on the go as people walk in. And we can send alerts if we pick up a face that isn't in the system, or even just have a manual kiosk where people, again, not everyone's maybe going to manually check in beforehand using the app, but this can speed up the process for people that have, as well as then have a mobile kiosk where someone's still at the front desk for anyone that hasn't gone through this process too for that. But Andre, would love for you to share just how we've been using this. I know we have a video too of you speaking on this even further, but just as how kind of facial rec is used in this face as a ticket approach on that side.
Sure. One very important thing to note is that the technology that we develop is GDPR and CCPA compliant, which means that California being one of the most stringent states as far as facial recognition goes, we are compliant with CCPA because we don't actually store anything. Scylla will take the features of your face and turn that into what we call a vector file, which is basically about 128 digits that only the system can understand. There are no features to store. All your features are designed to be a vector file that Scylla understands and can make a 99.9% determination that person's there. So there is no privacy when it comes to our facial recognition technology. Previous technology used points on a face, which is outdated. We use what we call the deep learning method, and the system's always learning. So if you were to come in the next day with the 5 o'clock shadow, or a month later with a new nose or any type of plastic surgery, your profile is going to be updated real time, and as a result, the number changes. So it's real simple. Like Brennan mentioned, we have the native apps for iOS and Android. You enroll yourself. It takes maybe 5 seconds, sign up for the show. That gets pushed up to Scylla's cloud. We encrypt it and push that down to the on-premise server for the venue, and the cameras there will basically be looking for that person and check them in as soon as they arrive. And if there's somebody in the database that passes the kiosk that's not in the system, raises an alert so that personnel can stop them and have them check in manually. And the same goes for a watch list. So you can have a database of a watch list of people that are not supposed to be at the venue. You can go as far as linking this up with local law enforcement and their database of faces, whether that be repeat offenders, sex offenders, violent offenders, whatnot, that you don't want at the show. And now that's completely automated. As soon as that feature is picked up, because we do have photos of the people at the in the database for law enforcement, Scylla will be on the lookout for that, so that they can prevent any wrongdoers from entering the venue. And at the same time, it can be used for the be on the lookout module that we offer, looking out for any offenders that may be close to the venue.
Yeah, and I've got a little reverb here. With the facial recognition, yeah, this is something by adding the facial face as a ticket, just generates, again, a larger ROI, similar to the traffic flow analysis too, where we can still use it for that security purposes of be on the lookouts, but then we can also use it for face as a ticket for operations to streamline people coming in and out, as well as too, one of the other third applications that we touch on with a lot of our customers is using it and actually integrating with your access control too, where we can actually put employees in the database. So if we have a large event area, you have people coming in to actually attend the event, use face as a ticket. We also at the same time have the be on the lookout piece of it, looking for anyone that's on the banned list of people that aren't supposed to be in the venue, as well as too, if there are specific employee entrances or areas there where only specific individuals are allowed in there, we can actually register people's face rather than having to use a key card or anything like that. And so there's a lot of different areas where the facial recognition can come in handy on that side. And the face as a ticket is just another one to expand that out and look for other areas for return on investment and just practicality aspects of how can we use this facial recognition technology in the event operations space on that side. So like Andre mentioned, really simple to just upload your face into the system and then give them the access into the events too. This is something where we had an event actually go on, which we're going to show a video in a second, where we had multiple people hopping off a bus. I mean, it was what, 16, 20 people. Scylla still picks up all of them as long as those faces are visible to the system and to the camera. We're still able to pick them up on that side. So again, we still need visible faces, but the other thing too, like Andre mentioned, if someone has nose surgery or any plastic surgery or has a face mask or sunglasses and part of the face is covered, we can still pick it up because we're that deep learning network and not that traditional 8 points on a face, where if we put a face mask on, we just cut off half the points that some of the traditional modules are looking for on that side for the facial recognition on that side. But yeah, so right here, this is actually a video. Yeah, you hear Andre live, as well as get to hear him on this video too of an event that we had actually in Armenia where both of these modules were used.
Hello and welcome to the third annual defense exhibition located here in Hamalit, Armenia. I want to show you how Scylla's new Face as a Ticket automates the process of checking in for the show. So follow me, let's take a look. People attending the show download an app, take 3 simple photos of themselves and enroll themselves in the show. Upon arriving at the complex or the venue, Scylla immediately, within seconds, will understand that the person has arrived, check them in, and they can proceed to the show. We're utilizing existing cameras at the venue. You don't need to buy any hardware. Scylla, as always, has been agnostic to any type of camera hardware, and it'll alert personnel when a person has arrived that is not enrolled, and that person would have to go and check into the show, buy their ticket. It's just a time-consuming process. So Scylla's Face as a Ticket speeds up the operations. You can go in there and enjoy the show. Nobody wants to stand in line for half an hour.
Awesome. So yeah, so that was the event that we had actually out in Armenia. For that, Andre, would love for you to speak a little bit more too, just on the success that we had with the face as a ticket, as well as the traffic flow analysis. And in that specific sense, it was used in more of a trade show environment on that side, how those solutions were kind of married together and how they really helped the trade show as a whole.
Yeah, that was a great success. We actually had, on average, about 1,500 people enrolled using the Face as a Ticket app per day. It was a 3-day event, and it was flawless, seamless. We had we automated the process of the show. The venue organizers were very impressed with the whole process. There were no lines out the door. Everybody just walked right in, and Scylla took care of the rest. And of course, we had traffic flow analysis running at the show, and the end of day report showed them exactly where the most popular booths were in a sense, and also helped them gauge what their next year's planning is going to look like as far as floor space, real estate space, which booths are going to be charged a premium based on where the most flow was. So the event organizers are using that data now to plan the next venue engagement.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's the piece too with that traffic flow analysis piece is we were able to get a lot of that data to them. And again, we had different events go on and look for different ways to actually celebrate the success of saying, hey, this was the most popular booth that Scylla was able to pick up, as well as to just give this data, like Andre mentioned, to the different customers and the different companies that were out there at the trade show, just to understand, again, yeah, for next year's planning, what do we want to do? Or for the event center itself to say, hey, this is how popular it truly was. We thought it was going to be this popular, but it was actually this popular on this side. And here's where people were going. Here's how we want to set it up for next year, and give a lot of those critical data points for that was definitely an important piece of that as well too.
And it's good data, I should mention, for the people that are actually hosting the booths at these events, because the venue can actually send these customer reports to each of their patrons and say, you had a really good flow of people, your product's fantastic, we recommend you get a larger booth in this section next year. It's all data. Data's worth a lot these days, and to be able to automate that process and spit out the data at the end of the day is very valuable to venues, retail environments, and such.
So with that too, we're going to go to discuss a little bit more about one of the other areas, specifically around the Iowa State Fair. Before I do, and we go into that as well, just want to remind everyone we do have the Q&A section as well. So feel free to add any questions that you have on the solution itself, as well as to some of the use cases. Would love to elaborate any more. If there's any other questions on that, feel free to pop them in, and we'll make sure to review those as they come into the chat as well too. But yeah, so one of the other successes is around the Iowa State Fair. And so yeah, we've got our global presence as well as too right in the heart of the Midwest, actually where I'm located here in Iowa. I'm working with the Iowa State Fair. Andre, would love for you to share what we've been doing with Iowa State Fair this past year, as well as two, what we're doing in the off season, and then also third, kind of what we're planning on for this next year too, for that with some of the other solutions. I know some of them are going to be around that face as a ticket, as well as traffic flow analysis, but would love to hear more about some of the other solutions and how we're specifically catering to the event space of the Iowa State Fair.
Sure. Iowa State Fair utilizes Scylla year-round. We have what we call the off season, where the show is not there. Iowa State Fair is a 10-day long event annually, and when the show's not on, they use our intrusion detection to make sure that the grounds are protected, and they get real-time alerts for any human beings that may enter the premise. And during show times, we flip that switch, and they utilize last year's show. They utilized gun detection. And when we turned off the intrusion detection, this year we're going to be implementing face as a ticket for the venue to automate that check-in process as well. We do have a list of a watch list that we'll be incorporating with that for previous fairs where people were not allowed to come in, or they did something that constituted be getting on that watch list. So Scylla will be taking care of that and filtering that out real time. We're also going to be implementing some of our anomaly detection, behavioral anomaly detection. So we're going to be doing some fight detection and as well as the gun detection as usual for this state fair this year.
Awesome. And yeah, that's another piece with the Iowa State Fair, as well as any sports stadiums, event centers, things like that. Event day security versus non-event day security are two totally different beasts. And so again, like Andre mentioned, on the non-event days, which is a big time portion of the calendar year for the Iowa State Fair, it's very focused on that intrusion detection. But when the fair comes, we want people to be coming in. And so with that, using the solutions to be looking for specific objects and anomalies, as well as people that have been banned from there too. And so that's where we're also using it for our different anomalies, like Andre mentioned, similar to our fight detection, also things like slip and fall on that side. We also have our shoplifting that's more specific to the retail environment, but I know a lot of different venues have different stores, like inside of different sports stadiums or different retail environments that can also benefit from that. But that anomaly detection is another specific piece, because again, we want people in these events, whether it's at a trade show, sports stadium, state fair, whatever it might be. And so using the Scylla technology to look for those different objects, actions, and behavior anomalies specifically in those people that are on that be on the lookout list is definitely a value add on that side as well too for that. So that's just a little bit an overview of what we're doing with the Iowa State Fair. Like Andre mentioned, this next year we're planning on integrating the face as a ticket as well now too, as this next phase approaches. And again, too, on that non-event days, which is a lot of them focusing on things like intrusion detection or loitering or whatever we might need on that side is a big piece for a lot of these event centers for that, because there's areas where we don't want people at all, or we don't want people loitering around on that side. And that's another use case where the traffic flow analysis can be used on that side there. But yeah, so with that, that's just kind of an overview on the Scylla solution for that. We've got some more of our modules too. Again, we wanted to mainly focus today on the event security space specifically, but any questions, feel free to add into the Q&A chat specifically around Scylla, maybe some of these other solutions. Yeah, this is just an overview on our portfolio as well that we can kind of touch on as well too, as well as to just specifically traffic flow analysis and face as a ticket. Would love to answer any questions that people might have in the chat. Give it a few minutes. And again, just so everyone knows, this is being recorded too. So if there are any questions or things that come up afterwards, or if there's people on your team that want to take a look at how this security technology can be implemented in their different event spaces, would love to share this out. This will be sent out at the end of today for as our goal. So we'll get that out to everyone in this recording piece as well too for that. But yeah, again, if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and would love to answer those. Perfect. We'll give it another minute there. Awesome. Question right here. So yeah, is this solution currently connected? Oh, it went out or published here. Is this solution currently connected to a ticketing and payment system in the US on that side? Andre, love for you to comment on that, on how we're kind of looking at the ticketing side for this.
No, it's not connected to any payment because the request hasn't been presented yet, but Scylla does have the ability to implement. So if the need arises, our development team is fully prepared to implement.
Perfect. And yeah, that's something too with the ticketing software side for the event itself. So again, we have our own application, but we're always looking to integrate and customize with the customers too. So if it's something that you're running an event center or sports stadium and you have your own process there, we want to make sure we integrate and work with your existing technology. That's one point to make out just for Scylla as a whole too, is with our solution, we are completely camera agnostic, and we're always looking for ways to integrate with your existing system to make it better, make it more proactive, and give you the data points and different alerts that you're wanting to see in a real-time manner, as well as in the reporting sense too with the traffic flow analysis for that. And so, yeah, just a little summary for anyone that hasn't heard of Scylla as well too. Yeah, we are a proactive video analytics solution where we work with existing security cameras. And so like Andre mentioned, and he mentioned as well in the video too that we played, we just capture the camera stream of the camera and we monitor it in real time then. And so we run either in the cloud or on edge or on on-premise server, monitoring that stream in real time to give you the different data points or objects, actions, and anomaly alerts that you want to see inside of that with our video intelligence too. So this isn't, nothing's necessary of saying, hey, we need to quick scrape out your existing cameras and system. We're going to work with your existing system that you have today, as well as look for any future integrations too, like we mentioned around ticketing software or anything like that too. We're always looking to make sure we work with your existing environment. But yeah, so with that, any other questions, feel free to add. Andre, any closing kind of remarks too around the event operation space?
No, it looks like we got a new question being typed up here. We'll wait for that to come in.
Perfect. We got something. We got Francis typing. Awesome. I'll wait for that too. Yeah, just a little bit of a summary too of what who Scylla is working with today. Some of the big names too. Yeah, the USC Verduga Hills Hospital. As well as too, like we mentioned, the Iowa State Fair. We're also working with Daimler on that side, the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field, as well as Georgia Veterans Home on that side, the Oman Airport out in the Middle East, as well as Clark County School District in Las Vegas as well too, for that. So just to name a few, as well as then some of our select integrations as well too, are down here as well. So perfect. We got people typing in the chat. We're typing. Oh.
So we got a pricing question here.
Yeah, so pricing on this kind of aware as well. So we are an annual reoccurring revenue stream. So it's a subscription base, usually more likely than not an annual subscription on that side. And I'd be happy to send that over, Hanley, just to give you some more on the price tags around this. But again, we do it usually a per camera, per module, per year. For a lot of our enterprise customers, but we also have a turnkey solution, specifically our Scylla Asteria, where we can actually run on one small edge device, X amount of cameras on one specific module too. And that's definitely a great way to get your toes into the world of analytics too, on that side as well, for that. That's perfect. I'll make sure, yeah, I'll send that over on that side. Perfect. Well, if there are any questions too, feel free to reach out. We'll make sure to have the contact info for both Andre and myself in the recording when we send that over to you. Feel free to add any other questions that might come up as well. Anastasia, thank you for setting this up on this side on this webinar today, and we'll make sure to answer any other questions that might come up as well too, following up on that side. But yeah, we thank you everyone for their time, taking the time out of their day. And yeah, look forward to seeing where Scylla can help protect your events and make the operations run even smoother. So thank you, everybody.